word world-class tenant is something I hold near and dear to my heart. Growing up, my mother was a tenant her entire life, and she was a world-class tenant to me. In the beginning, when I started sourcing a lot of my tenants that are still with me, it was a feel, which you can't duplicate or train people on feel. The best thing you can do is really knowing where their heart is, their habits, their history, where they're currently at in life, where they plan on going in the future, habits, the way they communicate with you. But how do you put all that together? What I'm going to go through today is my little past, present, and future outlook on a tenant. So underwriting a tenant or underwriting a bunch of tenants who are looking at renting your specific property. It's a very important thing to make sure you nail it, because it can be devastating and a big blow for you from a cash flow standpoint, and overall just a nightmare with evictions and attorneys and all that stuff. So get in the game of understanding how to find a great tenant, and this is I feel a great way of being able to put the emotional part here with the up top part, the logical part here. I'm going to go through the different places where I typically frame this. I frame it from first the past, the current state, the present, and then the future of this tenant, our relationship for at least 12 months. And will they potentially be a buyer? Could they be a buyer through my rent-to-own program, or could they eventually leave me at some point based on their work ethic and all the different things that we can measure them on, okay? So I'm going to start with, first and foremost, is their past. Get an application, okay? The application is going to give you information about their landlord and their employment history. Also, if they've had any evictions or specific other issues, which are red flags. The red flags are obvious, so you kick those out. But if you're digging into one that's a borderline, I don't know how to make a decision on this thing, these things are extremely important. The employment history. A couple things that I measure. Have they been with the employer 3+ years? 3+ years is a good indication they're a strong employee, and they're great, they're stable, they have a job, they work hard. Doesn't mean necessarily their current job they've been there 3+ years, but if you look at their track record of the past, and they've been with an employer over 3+ years and has been several times, because it's similar pattern that you're going to see with their housing. They coincide with each other, okay? So employment history, also calling their employer and asking some pretty good questions without directly offending the employer or offending anybody involved. A question I would ask is, how do you feel Mr. Lancioni is from a accountability standpoint? It's a good way of finding out, are they on time, are they there? It's a good question for them to unpack and get to know a little bit about the tenant, and sometimes it's a really good indicator that you're going to get along really well with this person. So great way to find out is their employer and then their history. Another thing, tenant history, calling their current landlord. First indication that they're a great tenant is when the landlord is hesitant to say, oh, you're talking about Miss Joanne? She's thinking about leaving? Immediately a light bulb should go off and think, this is a great tenant I don't want to lose, or I want to acquire as a great tenant because this current landlord's upset. Or if the landlord is very careful with what they say about the tenant. Another indication that you may want to stay clear of this person. This could be a stage 5 type clinger girlfriend that you don't want to deal with, okay? So feel this conversation out with the existing landlord. Great information to find out who you're gonna, what kind of baggage and what kind of person you're gonna be bringing on, okay? You could find out about, asking them about, do they pay on time? How do they treat the property? And save it, because you're gonna be talking to the tenant themselves to see if the information aligns, okay? Tenant history. So these two things about the past are extremely important to paint a picture of the entire person that we're looking at, underwriting her. So the basics to me. This is the current state of this tenant. Do they make 3 times rent? Mandatory, black and white, logical thing. They make 3 times rent, they can pay you, they're gonna be on time, they don't have a problem paying you, okay? Email replies, communication is key. So within this current state, I'm worried about the communication. Are they gonna get back to me within 24 hours of an email, whether I sent or there's a request being made? Are they getting back in 24 hours? That means they're speedy, they're on the ball, they'll probably be the same way with paying rent. Are they on time for showings or appointments? If you have a virtual call or a phone call scheduled, are they on time? Are they telling you to wait 5 to 10 minutes? Are they showing up late? Do they even show up and ghost you? Do they cancel on you? Probe these little details. This stuff is important to see really like short-term, current state they are mentally. Their current car or the rental property they live in. If they meet you or your employee, they meet you at the property, have them try to greet them by their car. Poke in to see your head in to see what kind of shape the car's in. If the car's in bad shape, it will mean that they probably take care of the property the same way or themselves, okay? Important. Their existing rental, for some reason you have to stop by their existing rental to sign the lease, see what kind of shape is in, because then you could, at that point, make a decision like, you know what, they're gonna leave their rental the same shape mine's in. But you can also find this out by asking the landlord about the tenant history and finding that out, okay? So be aware of their car and their existing rental. The application fee. If it's an issue for them to pay 50 bucks or they keep breaking stones about the application fee, it's probably a bad fit, okay? Application fee issues. Another thing, questions about current landlord and upkeep. I would ask the existing potential tenant of questions about their current landlord and upkeep. If they complain, nag, constantly have issues, you're probably going to inherit the same type of person. So double check this and ask questions about their current landlord. Ask them about that, very important, okay? Now, what I look at, so we have past, current, naturally, the future. So the future is what you are going to inherit here with this, okay? You are going to get a person who's going to be locked in with you for at least 12 months, okay? Are they going to pay you on time? Are there going to be service calls a bunch of times? Are they going to respect your home? Could they be a potential buyer based on all the numbers, the math, their motivation? Are they looking to be a home owner at one point? Are they going to have a growing family? There's a lot of different things to find out, but look at this person as would they potentially buy a home one day? If you feel that they have the potential to not only buy a home, or they'd be a great fit because they have all the right criteria from their past and the current state, and it feels right, you have a great tenant. And not only a great one, they're going to be a world-class tenant because you're going to want to make sure that nothing, you have a great subscriber that you're going to make sure they're happy, things are maintained, there's upkeep on your end, and the relationship goes both ways. So this is a great way to solidify a world-class tenant by looking at their past, their current, and then the future outlook is the way you're going to measure, do I want to be in a relationship with this person for at least a year or more? Does my management team or the people feel the same exact way? Any questions, any additional things you want to share with me? Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share my page. Thank you.